Is the core play legit?
Can you really do the program in just 15 minutes per day? And if the core play is a 28-day program, how come it took me 11 months and 24 days? In the summer of 22, a Focusmate partner got me all curious about handstands and calisthenics. Let's say the online ads picked up on that and started to follow me around for months.
Click me. Buy now. Click me.
Until one day, I caved in and purchased the program for 47 euros. I like to be active. I love anything movement related. I either go to the gym around 3 times a week or I take 1 or 2 dance classes per week. The Core Play is a 28-day movement program that brings you closer to bulletproof abs and improved shoulder strength. The program is 4 weeks long. You do exercises or a routine for 6 days and you have 1 rest day. You can start each workout with a prehab routine, which is optional. If you hate sports injuries, you're going to love prehab.
Enough chatting. Let's get cracking. I started the program in October 2022. I injured myself, quit the program, restarted. On a Google spreadsheet, I kept track of what I did, when, and how it went. A stinging sensation in the wrists seemed to be a common theme. 3 months later, I only made it to week 2 and quit again. I restarted, but this time I kept going. The struggle you see on the mat is from early February 2023. As you see, I'm battling with a lack of space in my studio apartment. I had to wrap myself around the furniture to do the exercises. Previous injuries taught me not to skip prehab. So after a round of torturing myself, stretching out the wrists, I continued with today's flow. Oh, and yep, in the first flow, you will be balancing on 1 arm and 1 leg at some point. Nee. Today I did more drills. If you're feeling lazy, don't worry, you're just gonna be lying on the mat. Today's flow is called Stand Strong. You will see that's not what I did. I wobbled around, lost my balance more than once, but just carried on when that happened. More drills today. You'll repeat a bunch of drills you did earlier in the week. The challenge is not doing the drills themselves, but hanging in there for a full 3 sets. I felt the burn during this one exercise especially, but after restarting the program so many times, I actually gained some strength in my abs and wrote down in my spreadsheet, this was okay, we're compounding. Today's flow is called Stretch and Relax. There are no complicated exercises or balancing acts. And there's also no real possibility of getting injured, just relaxing stretches. Week 2 is called Let's Get Serious. You're going to be up on your arms, pushing into the shoulders and feeling your core a lot. Day 1 of week 2 introduced the L-sit. On this footage from the first round in November, I was nowhere close to lifting both of my legs in the air, so I just did a modification and felt the burn in my thighs. My wrists were not being cooperative and this was annoying the heck out of me. Fast forward 4 months. I'm still too weak to do a proper L-sit. Or my arms are just too short, who knows. I grabbed a pair of yoga blocks for the sliding exercise, because without it, it wasn't possible. I was struggling with the carpet, a lack of space, and limited arm length. The wrist still aching, but I decided I was not going to let that stop me from progressing. On day 2 of week 2, things start to get interesting. This thoracic rotation is part of it, and later I got on with my first ever attempt at the crow. Terrified of falling and breaking my face, I placed a pillow on the floor in case of a crash. And yes, we see a 2-second lift off. Added an extra pillow for safety and tried again. You're supposed to really squeeze your legs and arms so that your legs don't slip out of the hold and maintain a forward gaze so you don't tip over. I knew it was unrealistic to expect a clean lift off at first try. Satisfied with my attempts, I resumed with the flow. I I went to the gym and redid this flow. It's still heavy, but it's starting to feel a little lighter than the previous rounds. I also reattempted the crow. The move still felt clumsy and I looked like a frog from this angle. For some reason, I didn't film day 3, 4 and 5, but I did have some minor breakthroughs. Week 2 and day 6 is for another stretch and relax class. Unlike other classes, your body doesn't feel tired out afterward. You did the hardest of work. After this class, you get to chill. This was a perfect example of how you're going to suck at anything at first try. I redid day 1 of week 3, which is all about animal moves. I already saw some improvement after only 1 repetition. I also continue to practice moves that I learned in previous flows. I don't know why I didn't film day 2 and 3 of week 3. Instead, here's a cat and what I wrote down in my spreadsheet. Week 3, day 4 was for another flow. The most fun part? Learning a new hand balance with a difficult name. At first go, my body didn't make much sense out of it. According to Google search, this is what it looks like. Yoga International explains how it's sometimes dubbed as flying split because it resembles a front split hovering over the floor. Week 3 and day 5 was for more drills. It's quite tiring on the wrists and shoulders, so don't skip prehab.
12 seconds later.
On August 7th, I made it to the end of week 3. In this stretch and relax class, you mostly get to lie on the mat again. The final day of the core play is called Be Fearless, Upside Down Strength. Expect a lot of pushing into the shoulders. Although the downward dog position feels like chilling, I'm not used to putting weight on my shoulders, not from this angle. They were burning. I also had to be careful not to overstretch my hamstrings. Today's Let's Get Upside Down flow has strengthening exercises and options on how to enter the handstand. I carefully tried to jump up Karin showed, but got nowhere. I was too scared to smash into my table, the chair, the window, the wall. I live in an old building, so if I jump up and down, the entire building shakes. Can't do that. More drills on day 3 of week 4, of which 3 out of 4 are again heavy on the shoulders. Again, I felt like I dragged a sack of dead meat across the floor. Day 4 of week 4 has the second handstand flow, with a variation to day 2. I kicked myself up a few times, then resumed the flow. With limited space and hazards all around, I waited to try this until I'm back at the handstand wall at the gym. I just realized I've been doing this one wrong. It's supposed to be a pike press. My butt should be up in the air and my body in a forward fold, unlike what you're seeing here. Made it to the final official day of the core play. I quit so many times, but I'm pretty proud for finishing something. Now I'll answer some questions I mined from comment sections on YouTube and Reddit.
Despite my best intentions, I started and restarted the core play a bunch of times. I did not finish it in one go. Especially at the beginning, I got injured a few times. On some days, I was so sore that there was no way I was going to move for that day, leading to skipping a day or two. And skipping a day does feel like failing, but I have no interest in risking a sports injury. I've had plenty of those in the past and I just don't care. I took my own time and that led to finishing the program, although a bit later than planned. I also really listened to my body. Pain meant stop. If it's too sore, take a rest day, whatever. It depends. When I started, I needed at least 20 minutes for the prehab section. I had super stiff wrists. Stretching them out, it hurt, it stung. It was extremely uncomfortable. So it took a bit longer to get through the routine each time. By now, I need only 10 minutes to finish the prehab. Flows take a little over 10 minutes. The drills, how long you need for those, well, that depends on how fast you do the exercises and how many breaks you take in between, how long. I'm able to do the crow, a one-legged to the side arm balance where you're kind of sniffing the floor. It is called, one sec, Eka Pada Kodinyasana. There we go. I'm able to do a tripod headstand. Last week I attempted another tripod headstand, this one.
I saw this one in Ria's video. While I was hovering in the crow, I chose where to place the top of my head. I moved my head down slowly in a very controlled manner. Once the head is on the mat, I moved the arms closer into a 90 degrees angle that felt stable and solid. I then lift the legs up, slowly, controlled, while keeping a tight core. Keywords are slow and controlled. Getting here took a while. I knew the crow, I felt comfortable enough to do the tripod, those two first. Now all that was left was to practice the two together.
Nailed it? No. There's a lot of material that helps you figure out whether you're doing the move right. You can check the photos, the videos, the text. What really helped me was to film myself through it all so that I can watch the video back, look at how I'm screwing up or where I'm falling over or what's happening in the first place and if it looks anything like the example I just saw. Otherwise, there is a customer service. They are kind, responsive. If you need a modification because something is too difficult for your body or it hurts, then you can ask them and they will help you with a different move. I feel stronger, more in tune with my body. Especially the arm balances help me be more in the moment, be more present right there, right now. You have to be, otherwise you're going to tip over. If you fail to concentrate for 1 second, you're nearly breaking your wrist, which is awesome. Hey! Yeah, not really. I find the practice relaxing and healing. Another awesome side effect that I had not anticipated. This program cured my mouse arm. For 7 years I had been wearing braces. Whenever I'm doing computer work, I was not able to do any computer work without strapping my wrists up in braces that prevented them from moving side to side. You know, the movement you make when you're working on a mouse and going to the keyboard. There was ongoing inflammation inside the nerve and nothing that I did in the past helped get rid of it until I started stretching out my wrists with this prehab routine, putting more weight onto my wrists with all the arm balancing. A few months back I noticed my wrists were not constantly stinging anymore, so I tried really gently to do a work session on the computer without the braces and I wasn't dying. Which made it clear to me that keeping your body locked up, braced in the same position all the time is not healthy at all. It wants to move, it needs to move, and I was completely unaware. And yes, at first it was so painful to stretch out a body part that I had not been moving in that way for years. I'm really glad that this fixed the problem I thought I would have to live with forever. So also, the more I practice with that, the better it gets. If I stop doing the routines, if I stop doing the prehab, it starts going to shit again. So I'm super happy with this side effect. Really listen to your body. It is not a freaking race. It is not shameful if you're not able to keep up with the program or able to keep up as the program is intended, that you do a different exercise from Monday to Saturday or whatever day you start. Take the time you need to go through the program or any program really. Go at your own pace. The number one rule I adhere to, okay, I had to learn this after getting myself injured a few times. My wrists, my hands do not touch the floor without first having gone through the prehab routine to prevent injuries. So skim through the flow videos, go through the drills exercises, see if there's anything that is putting a lot of weight on your shoulders, if they're not used to you putting your whole body weight on them, which mine definitely were not, and prep them. Your body will thank you. Would I recommend the program? Yeah, I look cool in the gym. My shoulders are growing. My eternal wrist pain has subsided and I could throw away the wrist braces. And it got me hooked on bodyweight exercises, and this year I want to learn more of them and maintain what I've learned so far. You know, anything you want to learn today, the information is out there. It's out there for free. If you spend enough time searching for it and compiling your own little training program, you can do that too. But I went with this option because the ads were really tempting me, and yeah, I gave in. It was exactly what I wanted to learn anyway, so I did not want to waste more time than I needed. It's the same with any course. You just pay for structured information to get you to your goal faster. The program can be a nice starting point because it has you covered for 28 days. However, I do remember that I found it quite difficult to keep up with first flow in the first week. I remember we had to balance on one arm and one leg. I was really struggling with that. The first few rounds of drills, I also was not able to do the full 3 sets as intended. After one set, I was already freaking exhausted. It took a few rounds of going through the entire core play from beginning to end and again before I could keep up. With each practice round, you get a little bit better. In the end, that is the goal. That is what you want to accomplish. So definitely give it a try if you're able to go about it at your pace. Don't expect to nail the movements at first try. Don't be surprised if what you're doing is not going to look like what you see on the video, but you can work towards it. Let me know if you find this interesting or not.